Virgo, before we get into our messages, I want to talk about something that happened this morning when I was meditating with your energy. I decided to pull a symbol from this big book of symbols, like just open on a random page and see what we get, to just kind of give me a heads up about what we're reading on today, what's coming through for you. And I got the symbol of the orphan, which can be a heavy energy to work through and work with. But as I read the passage here, something quite beautiful came through. And that is the realization that I had, but I also think that you're going to have, that being without an origin, whether that's or being separated from your origin, whether that's literally like your family or where you were born or something that you were deeply invested in and that's a part of you and now you have separated from it, you were without that origin, it can create kind of this open pathway in your consciousness that isn't bogged down with old stories or old karmic patterns or repetition of generational cycles, and you are kind of free. Well, you are free. Not kind of. You are free. But I feel like you're kind of beginning to notice this now in a different way. It feels like your mind and even your energy, and I'm feeling guided to say body, is free from a certain origin that had a heavy imprint on you. So I feel like Spirit is asking you to think about something that is perhaps a little bit painful for you, whether this is recent or in the past, and how your separation from that hasn't always been easy, and maybe you've experienced it as a continuation of pain, but it's actually like a start over, like a do-over, or like an open pathway. And I keep seeing like the brain, it's like an open consciousness. I don't know, it's like opened something for you to be different than what came before, or different than what other people had plans for you. Like people planned how things would look for you, but you're doing it different. You know, you've stood on your own in a really powerful way. Okay, and so what, and here in this text it says, you know, the orphan is extraordinary and ordinary, extraordinary and not ordinary. It's a quality that we have within ourselves, this orphan, to find something that is individual within us, not attached to something else. And it says here that in alchemy, the philosopher's stone is often called orphan. And the philosopher's stone is the gold that we seek within the soul, the special capacity we have to generate our desired realities and create magic in the world. So I just felt guided to say that because I feel for some of you, you do have a connection with the archetype of the orphan in a real profound way. And for others of you, this may be a little subtle or tangential of a connection, but it's still important for you. Now, what I really wanted to talk about here was that I was reading this line, this quote from Carl Jung that's in this book. I was reading it out loud, and as I was reading it, like I have turkeys in my area and my window was open, and the turkey just made this huge gobble, which they don't usually do, but I have one this season who's just really loud. And it scared me, like I jumped, and I thought that was significant because it was as I was reading this quote. So I feel like this is a message for you, Virgo, of something potentially shaking you, startling you in relation to what I'm about to read. So here it says, it is only separation, detachment, agonizing confrontation through opposition that brings consciousness and insight. So there's something opposing you, a force, a thought, an emotion, a person, a situation. This could be upcoming or something you're currently dealing with. And it's through this engagement with this opposition that you are going to have an expanded awareness that you can detach from this quarrel or confusion or knot or a binding that you find somebody engaging with you in. I don't know how to say it exactly because I don't know what it is for everyone. We're going to pull cards and all that in a second. But Spirit is saying to perhaps somebody has orphaned you in a sense, you know, and Spirit's trying to get you to reframe that idea of being disconnected or separated from something as not a loss, but a gain. Okay? Because there is a big gain here, and it's coming through in a very serious, kind of studious way. So I feel like this is important for you to kind of sit with this idea of being free and having a serious gain. And I even feel like saying advantage through this experience of opposing someone or being in opposition, and for some of you from being orphaned or so-called orphaned, separated from one's origin. There's something that has evolved within you that came from you. It's like an independent thought or an independent energy that you've cultivated, and it wasn't passed down to you, or it wasn't programmed into you. It's something that you had to generate on your own, and that word generate is really strong here for you. You're a generator in some sense, and maybe that's a more resonant word for you than manifest. Okay. Yeah, because I think generate really, well, it's interesting because it's linked to generation and we're talking about orphan, but generate really signals the use of your soul's energy, at least to me. Okay. So I got some other messages here, and we have number 77. I just saw 7 on the clock on the timestamp. 1430. Mercury being very important, and Mercury is your ruler, but there could be something about communication or thinking. Then I saw a huge giraffe, and the feeling I got with the giraffe was to look at its symbolism in its shadow element. So in its more so-called negative aspects. This could be someone you're dealing with, or maybe these are things within yourself that you're kind of struggling with, or this could be the opposition that you face. The giraffe in general is about having a different or higher perspective. But in the shadow, it could be like someone's head is in the clouds. They're overextending their reach. There's something about that there, overextending their reach. Yeah, it's like they're maybe offering advice when it's not their place, or they're trying to butt in somewhere, you know, or it could be you. Take it as it resonates. And then I got superiority complex. So somebody who thinks that, you know, they're better than you, or they're just better in general. So I also got the word turn on, and it feels like someone's trying to turn you on, Virgo. But this could be like turning you on to an idea, turning you on to a deal. They're maybe seducing you a little bit, or they're creating a certain narrative to get you to turn in a certain direction. I don't know why that phrase came in specifically, but that's what I got. Then I also got one of these things is not like the other. And then a message came through about staying safe and trusting the nudge. And I saw someone first in a car, and then I saw someone in a forest. So I feel like this might be a literal message for some of you, and it's just general good advice, right? So Warrant's saying, but, you know, if you feel like this thing, like, oh, I don't know if I should go there, I should walk there, or, you know, the weather's not so good, maybe I shouldn't go to the store right now. Like, trust the nudge, okay? Because there is something about staying safe here. Now, if you have to go somewhere and you want to go somewhere, like, don't get paranoid, but it's specifically those moments. I've had many of them where I've gone to a forest, I pulled up in the parking lot, the parking area of the forest, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I drive like an hour to go there, and I'm like, there's something telling me, and I just turn home and just trust it. So it's something like that for some of you. Okay, but one of these things is not like the other, seems like a clue. Okay, so something's happening, something will happen. Look for the odd thing out. It will give you insight. Some logic doesn't fit, some object isn't working, some person is not like the others. I don't know. You decide what this relates to, but that's the clue that's coming through. One of these things is not like the other. And then your card that came through as the theme of the reading was Caterpillar Opportunity. And I looked it up in the book to see what this card had to say. And there was a very important message about right timing and strategy and knowing when to act and when to hold back. Okay, so let's get in a little bit further, Virgo, and see what's up with you. What does Spirit want to say to you? What do you need to know? This could be for any Virgo placement you have. Anybody who I'm connecting to and who's looking for the information. You're looking for information? Yeah, intuition is your supporting energy. See, there's something about that nudge. And this is not just about forests and driving and things like that. It's also about people and situations and anything. You know, it feels like you're going to get a mercurial, intuitive nudge. Okay, so something could come through in communication. There could be a road sign. There could be something you read. Okay, I'm getting something about the turkey again. The Mercury turkey. Okay, turkeys symbolize. They're very significant. They can be mediums. They're kind of channels for the other realm, from beyond the veil. From beings from beyond the veil trying to connect with you. Something startling you. But I feel like this isn't negative. Maybe this is where you're getting your intuitive nudges from. Okay, so, some energy's connecting with you, telling you, pay attention. Pay attention to something. And even if an opposition you have with someone or something is startling or brutally painful, or even if you hold opposing ideas in your head and you're trying to figure out where do I stand with this? It's in that conflict, in that working through that opposition or understanding just even understanding the significance of it, that things open up for you. Okay. Yeah, some of you have like a very strong connection. Could be to nature and animals and things like that, but it feels like you get messages. I'm feeling my crown chakra here tingle a little bit. Yeah, you might even feel like someone's touched you. Yeah, speak. I'm hearing speak. Speak if you want. Speak to your guides, someone who's passed over, to the animals, to the trees, speak. They're listening. Ooh, the challenging energy, overcome fear. So what is causing you fear, Virgo? Well, that turkey startled me. Like I jumped, which is, it's just a turkey. But, someone might say something and it makes you nervous. Or you could be worried about somebody's words and what they will say to you or what they could say to you. There's also a nervousness here about not doing something at the right time. This card also spoke about, continuing to do something over and over again, even though nothing's happening with it and you're not getting any results, but you keep doing it. And Spirit's saying, you know, it's time to recognize that there's an opportunity to separate from that, to go into a different direction and see what else can happen, rather than trying the same strategy or the same thing that is just not working. And if that resonates with you, then what's holding you back is some kind of fear here that you're going to miss out if you change tracks, or you're going to make a mistake. But your intuition is guiding you. So really sit with yourself, you know, and ask yourself, like, what, or even out loud, like, what am I intuitively being guided to do? And the answer might not come immediately, especially if you're mercurial in nature, because your mind could get in there. But keep asking. And it's okay if you don't get an answer right away. Some of you may want to write down what comes to your mind and close the book and then come back, ask another day and see if it's changed. There's something about like really listening to yourself and only yourself about when to act or what to do and when to give up on something and try something new. Overcome fear. Okay, Spirit, let's get into the cards and see what else, the tarot, and see what else wants to come through. You could be seeing a lot of like number confirmations, because every time I look at the timestamp, I'm seeing, you know, numbers that could be interpreted as significant or signs. Like I saw 1331, 1606, like there's like a pattern. So just take note when that happens. What are you thinking? What are you listening to? Some of you might experience flickering of lights, things like that. Just when that happens, pause and say to yourself, like, what was I just thinking about? Because it's a confirmation or a message or some reassurance about that thing you were thinking about. Okay, I have a side message coming in that's not going to be for all of you. I want to pull some charms on this. Something might not go your way. Hold on. I know. Hold on. This is if you're overextending, if you're pushing something. Because as soon as I said something about the flickering lights, I saw a bulb burst. And it feels like to me, like if you're focusing too hard on getting something done in a very particular rigid way, it's like too much pressure, too much energetic pressure to the point where it explodes. Like it doesn't do what you want it to do. Seeing this giant key, a bottle cap. I almost want to say a hubcap. This pendant that says witch. There's something about children or childhood coming up here. Heart with a nurse's hat. Judgment. A little ghost. A bird in a cage, the number 6, the letter Q, and the letter O. The letter K, the letter T, the letter M, the letter U, the letter P, a wrench, 1111. I told you, there's something about those numbers, and another O. These O's are, I don't know, there's something, the energy with the O's is kind of weird. I don't know what that's about. Or maybe it's a circle. There's something you're going to see here. Hold on one second. Like I'm seeing a circle, someone checking it. It's like a checkbox. Maybe you need to create some, I'm sure you do, you're Virgo. Create a checklist of some sort for something. Make sure you're doing everything correctly. Something's not going to go your way if you overextend yourself. Something that might have worked for you in the past, in order for you to kind of get in and do something, isn't going to work this time. You're going to have to find another way around. That's only if you're kind of overstepping, okay? Only if you know you're like, maybe, probably shouldn't be doing this, okay? That's the message for you then. But that's only a few of you. Okay, let's get in Virgo. Spirit, messages for Virgo. Past is far, far away. Okay. Let's see. Interesting. I saw this card, King of Wands, with this camera, and I got the song, Somebody's Watching Me. I always feel like. Do you feel like that, Virgo? Okay. You could be watching someone. Judgment again with the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun. Ooh, this is a big one. Okay, we're not talking about anything small here. We're talking about something that is consequential, karmically. Okay, for your overall energy, we have the King of Wands. And you are looking at, not only looking, but you're recording what you don't see coming. Interesting. The giraffe having a higher perspective, seeing beyond the trees, right? Like it's like you can see what's not coming. The Page of Swords, which is another card of seeing something. Hold on, there's a lot here. And in this Page of Swords, somebody's yelling into a megaphone at this arborist or maybe a construction worker of some sort. It feels like you're watching somebody and their actions. For some of you, there's an injustice unfolding that you're watching. You could also be seeing how something or how someone is dealing with something. You're assessing a situation before you take action, which is perfect because that's what the caterpillar opportunity was telling you to do. Assess the situation, act at the right time. One of these things is not like the other. Yeah, you're getting a good look at something here. What you don't see coming, Page of Swords. Now, this does not feel like you. This doesn't feel like you telling someone, hey, man, don't cut down those trees. That's not what you should do. Or, hey, man, I want you to go cut down that tree. Not, like this person is saying something to this other person. And it doesn't feel like, it feels like you're outside of this, like you're watching what's going on. Okay, I'm going to need more clarification on this, Spirit. Okay, let's use these cards. What is it that Virgo is seeing here? The Phoenix, Door of Dreams in reverse, Sudden Strike in reverse, and the Sleepwalker in reverse. This card says, you get some shocking news. Something's going to startle you, but not to worry. The universe is always taking care of you. It feels like you're trying to get ahead of a situation. To rise above it with the Phoenix. I think you are being smart about the way you're handling a situation, and maybe this is confirmation for you. Before I go further, can I know a little bit more about this fear that Virgo has? That would be helpful, Spirit. What is this overcome fear? Desire. Ooh, turn you on. What are you desiring? Maybe you're desiring something that feels a little forbidden or out of reach. Okay, let me keep going here and see what happens. The Ace of Cups for your opportunity. I feel like with the desire, it's like you want to do something, to say something, to take some kind of action. But you shouldn't, or it's not, you need to wait for the precise time, the right time. And maybe you feel like there's a lot of pressure on you, like people are watching you, like when's Virgo going to do that? When's Virgo going to reply? When's Virgo going to blah, 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 right? And it's like, you need to trust your intuition. And so the fear could be coming from like outside pressures that other people have of you. Like, is Virgo sleeping? Is Virgo going to do anything about this? And maybe you do have a good grasp on the shadow side of the giraffe energy. Like, I don't want to overextend myself. I don't need to go that mile. Now, I do feel like you're watching somebody have a superiority complex. Absolutely. But there's something here about the Ace of Cups that brings in an entirely new energy. Let's see. What is this Ace of Cups for the opportunity? Truth. Wow. Okay. Beautiful. That's great. So your opportunity is to receive a truth. This could be in relation to love, into your creativity. This, for some of you, you are going to realize that you're more talented and skilled with something than you ever thought you could be. Some of you are going to take up a new hobby and you're going to be like, oh my God, like, was I born to do this? Because I can do this. So that's amazing. Yeah, for some of you, it's like that orphan thing is coming through again. It's like you realize that old path that you've been on and walking and that was like kind of working but wasn't really lighting you up, didn't have to determine anything in the future for you. That you could choose to be independent, that you could orphan yourself from that, you could separate yourself from that and have that independence, your independent truth coming from your heart. Now, some of you are going to receive a truth about love. Some of you want to say something about love. Or to someone you love. You want to say there's an opportunity to tell the truth here about something, whether that's your dissatisfaction or your desire. And that may be a fear, right? There's now, I'm not saying you're going to do it, absolutely, but the opportunity is here for you to do that. And what you don't see coming with the Page of Swords is it could be that the person that you have your eye on is also kind of having their eye on you. They're anticipating you. Yeah. Okay, there's lots of different ways to read these cards, but one of the stories that's coming in right now is that you think that somebody that you're behind the scenes, getting a good view of what's going on with them, but they're aware of that. They're aware of that. I'll just say it like that. Yeah, I'll say it like that. Okay. So the challenge for you is the Magician. I love this Magician card because we have a cook here, and cooking is alchemy. Like, it's so cool. There's two types of cooking. There's baking, and then there's that other kind of cooking. I don't know. They should have a different word for it. Maybe they do. Let me know, Virgo. You probably would know the word. Yeah, baking is more of a science, right? You have to be very precise with your measurements. Whereas this kind of cooking is more intuitive. You put the ingredients in, You give it a little taste test. You see if it needs more. You stir things around. You play with flavors. So I feel like here the challenge is reading the room or reading the moment, reading the energy. You know, it's like you could have this very rigid plan of how you want something to go, or like viewpoint of how something is. And it's like Spirit saying something might be evolving. Yeah, I feel like it's interesting. I've suddenly got like a little vertigo, like I was in motion. Yeah, things are moving. And Spirit wants you to kind of like adjust accordingly. Be adaptable so that you'll know when there's a right time. It's like you can't see the right time just yet, but it will make itself very apparent to you. There's so many messages in here. I don't know how to tie back in that opposition, but it's still here, that previous message. The Hangman, which is like not moving. So there could be an opposing forces of moving forward and then stopping, and then moving forward and stopping. And that's where the expansion of consciousness comes through. But be like the magician. Okay, because this is a challenge for you, as Spirit's showing me. Intuition is your strength. It's the supporting energy. So, you know, do a little taste test as you go along. Can I do this? How about that? You know, like try something out here. I hope this is making sense. Judgment for your advice. This is an awakening. This is a massive realization that you have turned a page. Some of you have done a extraordinary, tremendous amount of inner work and healing and shadow integration. And you're coming out the other side. And if you haven't really done those things, as your advice, Spirit is saying, well, exactly what Jung said. Maybe it's the spirit of Jung. That'd be cool. It is only separation, detachment, agonizing confrontation through opposition that brings consciousness and insight. Spirit is saying, remember that. That's what the Judgment card's really all about, is confronting all of those things, you know, the oppositions you face and the struggles and the separations, and realizing that there is another exit in this tunnel that you may find yourself in. And you will come out of it. This is important. What you decide to do, I already said this, it's consequential. It's important. Make your decision carefully but intuitively, because you are being guided. And overcome a fear you have. Some of you are going to need to strike when the iron's hot, but you're not going to know the iron's hot until you get right in front of it. Okay? You're trying to see if it's hot from a distance, and you need to, like, things need to progress. You need to get a little bit closer in. But only strike on your terms, too, is the other thing, because I feel like you have some outside pressure. The Wheel of Fortune and the Sun for the outcome, I mean, this is life-changing and super fantastic. Okay, this is like a super fantastic outcome. That's your future, Virgo, super fantastic. The energy's here for it. And this is also time, divine time. And when the wheel shows up, the Wheel of Fortune, followed by the Sun, this is the energy working in your favor. This is absolute truth coming to light. This is living in your truth in a way that you've never lived before. This is freedom. Look at this freedom on this card. Let me see a little bit further, Spirit. Give me a little bit more detail here of what's to come. Resilience. Wow, beautiful. Oh, the fox. So maybe you outsmart someone here. You're very clever. And I feel like a situation is causing you to be clever, calling for you to be clever, but not in a mischievous way or a way that is shadowy, but in a way that is fully conscious and aware of your potential to guide things in the direction you want them to go through the frequency of truth and authenticity. Okay, there's something about knowing that you can be the magician and generate situations and outcomes through the frequency of truth by observing things, by calling for things, by speaking certain things, and acting in the accordance of the highest good of all, which is your highest good as well, which is fantastic. Another, I don't know, fantastic, write it down. It's a word coming through. But when you act for your highest good, you're acting for the highest good of all. So you really just think of what's the best for my highest good. And the highest good isn't your ego, it's not that kind of stuff. It's for your sense of equilibrium and peace and soul expansion. That's your highest good. Okay? So lots of resilience, lots of growth. If you're in any kind of storm, you're going to weather it. The cards are showing me completely clear. The Wheel of Fortune, the Sun, resilience. You got it. It's a matter of timing and trusting your intuition. I'm going to do an extended reading, and in the extended, I'm going to go a layer deeper into this message, get more details, information. There'll be less of you there, so typically that's what happens. If you'd like to go to the extended, the link is in the description box below. If you can't or you don't want to, or you feel like you got enough here, because I feel like Spirit gave you a full message, then just trust that. Just trust you got what you needed. All right, Virgo. I love you so much. I'll see you next time.